Alright, hello everyone. Okay, so in this video we're going to talk more about declaring variables. Okay, alright, and we mentioned that anytime we write our program is going to have all kinds of data in it, whether it's accepting it from the user or it's using it from a file, or it's going to have data, all kinds of data in it, and we need to have a place in the computer to store that data, or basically all the pieces of data as they're being moved around, as they're being used. And so the way we do that is we tell the computer that, hey, computer, reserve a space in your memory and only allow data of this particular type to be stored in there. We've looked at all the different kinds of, not all of them, but we've looked at most of the different kinds of, we've looked at the primitive data types. And so in this video, let's go ahead and declare them. Let's talk about declaring a variable. Like I said, declaring a variable is just telling the computer to reserve a space in its memory. Okay, we give that space a name, and then we tell the computer to only allow certain values of one particular type, okay, to be stored in there. And so we've seen it, but let's try to declare more variables. So we saw the byte data type, and so to create a byte variable, we say that we type in the type of data, which is byte, and we give it a name. We call it my first byte. I'm using camel case here. And that's it. You specify the type and you specify the name of the variable. You're telling the computer to create a space in your memory, right? Name that space my first byte. And this is the data type. You're telling the computer that only allow data of type byte to be stored in my first byte. You are declaring the variable and saying, okay, I'm declaring this and saying this space should be called my first byte, and only data of type byte should be stored in there. That's the process of declaring a variable, right? Let's declare another one. Let's declare a variable of type short, and let's call it my first short. Let's just call it my first short, right? We've declared a variable. We've said computer, create a space in your memory, call that space my first short, and only allow variables of data type short to be stored in there. Let's create some more. So I'm going to create an integer variable. I'm going to call it number, right? Meaning this number variable will be created in memory, and only data of type integer, or int, which is an integer, will be stored in here. Okay, another one will be long. We can call it any name though. The variable names, we can call them any name. It's our names. And so long, I guess my first long, right? We can even try the floating point numbers. We can say that initialize, sorry, and we're declaring this variable. Let's start with the first one, which is a float. We can say create a float, right? And let's call it my first float, I guess. Okay, so we've created a variable, we've called it my first float, and we are only allowing data of type float to be stored in there. We can create a data type, so we can create a variable of data type double and call it my first double. Or we can even say that my money, okay, my bank account, I guess, or let's just say my money. Okay, we've declared the variable. That's all we've done. We are saying that we are creating this variable, right? In the future, okay, only allow data of type double to be stored in my money. Okay, create a space in your memory, call that space my money, and only allow data of type double to be stored in there. If any other data is being stored in here, it wouldn't allow that, because you declared and said that, okay, only allow data of type double to be stored here. You said only allow data of type integer to be stored here. And so that's it with actually let's do some more. Remember we talked about the char variable, which only allows characters to be stored in it. So we can create a char variable and call it letter, right? And letter we can set it to, remember, actually sorry we are talking about declaring variables, so let's not get into initializing them yet. We are only declaring them declaring them now. So char letter, which means that letter will only be allowed to store characters. Okay, that's it. Let's create a boolean variable. We are declaring a variable of type boolean. Let's call it like the other example, or let's try something different. Let's try is raining. Okay, and so is raining is going to hold either true or false. Remember, booleans can only hold two values, either true or false. And so if the value is set to true, then that means it's a way to tell us that okay, it's raining. If it's set to false, it's a way to tell us that it's not raining. But booleans can store true or false. We've only declared this variable and saying that it will only be allowed to store true or false, a boolean. And so this is how you declare variables. Okay, in the next video we'll talk about how to initialize it. All right, so get used to declaring variables because we're going to be declaring them all over, like anytime you write your program. All right, so thank you very much for watching. Take care of yourselves. If you have any questions, please let me know and I'll do everything to respond to them. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you next time with the next video. All right, bye-bye.